Means 99% of the people are living in a delusion. And if you ask them what are they going to do if I gave them $10 million, what would they do with their life? I guarantee you 2 to 8 million of that will be spent in less than a minute.
It's your boy Blessed, and this is Let's Talk Cash. Alright, so as you can see by the title, it is How to Get Rich. This is going to be a reaction. Not really a reaction, but it's like motivation for whoever watching. And I might just be critiquing, just talking on it, you know what I mean? So this channel is going to be about finances, wealth, reactions. We're going to be into like money, everything, how to build wealth. But for today, just to start my first video, we're going to keep it simple. How to get rich.
1% or less actually make financial independence. So that means 99% of the people are living in a delusion. And if you ask them what are they going to do if I gave them $10 million, what would they do with their life? I guarantee you 2 to 8 million of that will be spent in less than a minute.
I'm going to say this. As somebody gave me $8 million, any million, like the type of mindset that I had before, I probably would have spent it in like clothes, brands, stuff that is not valuable. It's valuable in this time, like present, to attract people, but it's not really valuable. But I would say right now I would invest it. I'm gonna cap. I would invest it.
Less than a minute. Motivation is not a solution, it's a symptom. Well, I think that the first step is to dissolve your own shames and guilts and reasons why you don't deserve. Because a lot of people are sitting there beating themselves up. Anytime you set goals that are not aligned with your highest values and you then don't achieve because you give up on them, then you end up beating yourself up and think there's something wrong with you. Well, first of all, you want to find out whatever you've done in your life, how it served you, how it served others, and clear out any shame and guilt. Then you want to sit down and ask, what is it that you're really going to do? Because you're not going to get wealthy unless you're serving people. And if you're not dedicated to serving people, you have a fantasy called wealth. You need to make sure that you really have a value on serving people. You need to have a value on wealth.
You guys got to listen, like what he is saying, you got to understand. So basically, you got to work for people to get wealth. Listen, certain people say they don't want to work for no one. Oh, I'm gonna go and get it by my own. You still working for someone. If you don't have no money, how are you going to get money? You're either going to get it from someone or get a job from someone. For the self-employing jobs, you're still working for someone. You're doing it on your time, but you're still working for someone.
Because if you don't really have a value on wealth, you'll spend it. If you have more of a value on spending it than saving it and investing it, it's going to keep going out the window. Because the money circulates through the economy from those who value it least to those who value it most over time. So you have to value wealth building more than spending. You have to value serving people more than just taking. And you have to be able to be dedicated to something that's really congruent with your values, or you won't stay with it. You won't build momentum and perseverance towards the accomplishment. And people who have a forced automatic savings in place and are willing to consistently study and research because they value wealth building. Warren Buffett by the time he was 11, he already read all the books in the Omaha, Nebraska library on wealth building by the age 11. He was committed to the outcome. People are really committed to wealth building. They study it, they research it, they mentor under it, they apply it, they have forced savings and investment structures in place. They constantly are trying to serve people, and they want to build a business that lasts. What happens is every human being lives by a set of priorities, a set of values, things that are most important to least important in their life. Whenever they set goals that are congruent and aligned with their highest values, they become the most powerful and effective people they can be. This is when they're the most grateful, the most resilient. This is when they're most disciplined and most fulfilled in their life. Whenever they're living by lower values and trying to inject the values of others or minimize themselves and live by lower value systems, they procrastinate, hesitate, frustrate, and they become, you might say, victims of their history, not masters of their destiny. So you look at how people fill their space, you look at how they spend their time, you look at what they are disciplined about and focused on, you look at where they're most organized, you look at where they spend the most money, you look at what energizes them the most, you look at what they think about, visualize, affirm, and converse with others about most that is in line with what they're creating in life. Look at what they're inspired by, what their goals are, and what they love learning. If you look and find the common threads to those questions, it'll narrow down to what you're dedicated to and what you spontaneously can't wait to get up in the morning and do. Any individual.
I hope you hear that. Like, I don't know why, but when I listen to these things, it's like a certain thing in my head, it clicks. If you really sit down and study and think about everything and try to figure out what's going to drive you as a person and what you really want. If you figure out what you really want and you see society for what it is, I feel you are reborn. And you realize that when you figure this out, you look a whole different person.
Individual that is setting goals, intentions that are congruent and aligned with the highest values. They have the highest probability of being spontaneously inspired in the morning to get up and do it. So if you have an entrepreneur that's working in a business and they found what is most meaningful to them, they have found the tap dance to work energy that Warren Buffett describes. Now, in addition to that, an entrepreneur also has to find out what their targeted market's highest values are to make sure that they're providing a service that meets those specific needs. So determining your own values and determining other people's values that you want to serve is an essential component, because you're here to be able to find something that serves other people, but it's also meaningful to you. If you find those two, you've got your niche. Now you've got exactly what you would love to get up in the morning and do, and you get to go and do what exactly people want, and you get to fulfill their life. Because everybody has a set of priorities, a set of values in their life, whenever they're living by their highest value, which the ancient Greeks called the telos, which is the highest priority in their life, the chief aim, as Napoleon Hill called it, or Ed Ellison called it, the magnificent obsession, or the big why. That highest value is the most meaningful and most purposeful thing they can do. That is the purpose. When you do, you're the most resilient, most adaptable to pain and pleasure. When you go down the list of values to lower values, you're less inspired, less fulfilled by doing them. You procrastinate in doing them. And what happens is you'll only do them if it's pleasurable, and if it's not, you'll give up. So the key is to make sure that everything you do is highest priority, the thing that's most meaningful to you, so you don't give up, you have the resilience, and you embrace pain and pleasure in the pursuit of a goal.
Let me say this. It is key to find what you guys want to do. In this journey, because I'm on the journey too myself, and it's hard. In this journey, you guys gonna realize that if you do not want it here, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay, I'm gonna do this for like a week. Oh, I did it a week. Then do it for 2 weeks. And then you realize like, oh damn, I really want to do this for 2 weeks. That means you never wanted it. If you wanted it, you're gonna sweat, cry for it, bro. I'm telling you. And it's not gonna be easy. It's not. You're trying to be the 1 to 3% of people. In this generation, that's hard. But it's not hard. It's dedication. It's not hard. We all the same. We all the same. But certain people just work harder.
Great purpose. If you are not living by your highest values because you're wanting to do it with pleasure only and you'll want to give up if it's pain, you'll need motivation all the time. The difference between inspiration, which is from within, is people who are inspired from within are living by their highest values. And people that need motivation from without are people that haven't found that highest value and are living by lower values, and they need constant incentives and motivation and only pleasure to keep them going. So our animal nature needs motivation, but our truest nature, our human nature, the one that activates the telencephalon in the brain, the executive centers of the brain, which allows you to be an executive and a leader in the world, transcends this pain, pleasure, amygdala reaction of the lower animal and within us, and allows us to function from an inner core mission that transcends that and allows us to be able to embrace pain, pleasure, support, challenge, ease, difficulties. Any complementary pair of opposites that you face along the way, you turn into on the way. If you're expecting to float across between two buildings, that's unrealistic expectation. Or if you're expecting yourself to do something that's truly not high on your values and not meaningful to you, you'll tend to give up. Or expecting some other human being to do something that doesn't abide by the laws of the universe, or expecting them to live outside their values. Because every human being makes...
I'm gonna wrap it up right now. We're gonna be doing like episodes, different episodes. I'm gonna come with reactions. I'm gonna be talking about investing, just stuff about money. Because as the channel says, let's talk cash, blast. Alright, I'm gonna catch you guys later and be motivated. Stay focused.